There is a moment each day when you decide whether you will walk as a son of authority or as a slave to circumstances, and it happens before your feet even touch the ground. That first thought upon opening your eyes is a seed. What you declare in those initial seconds begins to shape the spiritual atmosphere that will surround you for hours. Many lose the day right there in silence, letting worry speak first. You wake up and without realizing it, you allow anxiety to take the microphone. You think about debts, responsibilities, pending conversations, yesterday's mistakes. Your heart races and your mouth whispers phrases that seem harmless. It's going to be tough. I don't have the strength. I hope nothing goes wrong. But these are not neutral phrases. They are decrees. Proverbs 18:21 declares that death and life are in the power of the tongue. That means that every morning you carry an invisible weapon. David understood this. Before he was king, when he was still a shepherd in the fields, he had no guarantees of safety. Dawn brought cold, uncertainty, and danger. However, he didn't allow silence to overwhelm him. He raised his voice first. He declared who God was before facing any threat. He didn't wait to feel courage. He activated it with his words. Here's a truth many ignore. It's not the size of your problems that defines your day. It's the spiritual authority with which you rise. If you allow fear to speak first, fear will govern your decisions. If you allow faith to speak first, faith will guide your path. The dawn is an altar. You either consecrate it to God or surrender it to worry. Over the next few minutes, you will discover powerful declarations that must come out of your mouth before the world tries to impose its noise on you. These aren't motivational phrases, they are spiritual foundations. If you transform your mornings, you will transform your days. And if you transform your days, you will change your destiny. The second blow of the morning doesn't come from the outside, it comes from distraction. Barely awake, your hand reaches for your phone as if it were oxygen. Notifications, news, messages, other people's problems. Without realizing it, you surrender your mind to the noise before surrendering it to God. And what governs your first few minutes governs your focus. Psalm 5:3 says, "In the morning you will hear my voice. In the morning I lay my request before you and wait expectantly." It's not a suggestion, it's a strategy. David didn't begin by reacting to the world. He began by presenting himself before God. Before speaking to people, he spoke to heaven. Before tackling pending matters, he aligned his spirit. Here's the principle: to whomever you give your first attention, you surrender your emotional authority. If the first thing you consume is chaos, you'll live reacting. If the first thing you seek is presence, you'll walk with direction. You can't expect peace if your dawn is saturated with digital anxiety. Presenting yourself before God in the morning isn't a religious ritual, it's an act of spiritual warfare. It's saying to heaven, "I will not walk alone today." It's acknowledging that you need direction before making decisions. It's setting priorities. And when God is a priority, everything else falls into place. But the verse adds something powerful: "And I will wait." It's not just talking, it's staying. It's not praying quickly while thinking about your schedule. It's stopping, breathing, listening. Because many answers don't come in the noise, they come in the silence. And most people don't listen because they never wait. If you begin your days by seeking God's voice first, something changes. Your reactions become wiser, your words more prudent, your decisions more resolute. Not because problems disappear, but because you no longer face them from a place of haste, but from a place of direction. Tomorrow, try something different. Before you touch your phone, touch heaven. Before you check your to-do list, present yourself before God. Stay in silence for a few minutes and say, "Here I am, direct my day." That simple act can completely transform your day. There are decisions that seem small, but open giant doors for good or for destruction. and most people make them without consulting God. You plan, you choose, you accept proposals, you initiate important conversations, all based on your own logic. Then, when something falls apart, you ask why. Psalm 143:8 declares, "Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning. Show me the way I should go." Notice the order. First, mercy. Then, direction. David understood that he didn't just need love, he needed direction. Because feeling loved without knowing where to go leaves you vulnerable. And walking without divine direction is like moving blindly. Many live like this. They get up, they run, they decide, and they expect God to bless what they've already determined. But God isn't obligated to endorse what He never directed. There are paths that seem right, but they end up draining your peace, your time, and your purpose. Not everything that glitters is an open door. Sometimes it's a disguised distraction. The key is this: before taking a step, ask for clarity. Before responding to an important message, seek wisdom. Before accepting an attractive opportunity, ask in prayer, is this the right path? This isn't spiritual insecurity, it's maturity. It's recognizing that your vision is limited, but God's is eternal. And something deeper. God's guidance almost always comes with peace, not uncontrolled emotion, not pressure, peace. There may be challenges, but within you, there is a quiet certainty. When there is no peace, stop. Waiting a few days is better than regretting it for months. Make the dawn a time of consultation. Don't just ask for protection, ask for strategy. Don't just give thanks, ask for clarity. Say, show me the way. Close off what doesn't come from you, open what does. And commit to obeying, even if it's not what you expected. There are days when everything seems stable, until in a matter of minutes, the ground shakes beneath your feet. An unexpected call, medical news, a financial problem, a conflict you didn't see coming. And in that instant, your true refuge is revealed. Psalm 46 declares, God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. It doesn't say late help. It doesn't say optional help. It says soon, immediately, near. But here's the problem. Many remember God only after trying to solve everything on their own. When the pressure hits, they run first to panic, then to people, then to strategies, and finally to prayer. That order wears you down, because while you try to hold it all together with your own strength, your soul fractures. And God didn't design your life for you to carry storms without shelter. Refuge means active protection. Strength means supernatural capacity when your own is exhausted. It's not that you won't feel fear, it's that fear won't control you. It's not that the storm will disappear instantly. It won't drag you down. The key lies in your initial reaction. When a problem arises, stop. Don't declare disaster. Don't imagine the worst-case scenario. Breathe and proclaim, God is my refuge. It seems simple, but that declaration changes your spiritual stance. You go from victim to protected, from overwhelmed to sustained. When you run to God first, you receive something the world cannot offer: peace in the midst of chaos. That peace doesn't always change circumstances immediately, but it changes your ability to face them. And from that calm, you begin to see solutions that fear prevented you from noticing. Make this truth your daily shield. Before any difficulty arrives, establish protection. Declare each morning that you will not walk alone, that your strength depends not on your energy, but on His power, because the day may bring tribulation, but if your refuge is clear, nothing can destroy your inner stability. There is a void that many try to ignore by filling it with activity. They work more, they buy more, they post more, they surround themselves with people. But when the noise dies down and the room is silent, that emptiness is still there. It's not a lack of success, it's not a lack of companionship, it's spiritual hunger. Psalm 90:14 states it plainly, "Satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days." Notice the depth of that request. It doesn't ask for riches, it doesn't ask for comfort. It asks to be satisfied by God, because when the soul is filled with His presence, it stops begging for satisfaction in the wrong places. Many begin the day seeking stimulation, social media, news, entertainment. They fill their minds but not their spirits, and then they wonder why they feel empty halfway through the day. Because the human heart was designed for something eternal. Nothing temporary can sustain it. Being satisfied by God in the morning changes your identity. You no longer need the constant approval of others. You are no longer defined by an achievement, nor destroyed by a failure. You walk from a place of fullness, not lack. And that difference transforms the way you speak, decide, and relate to others. God's mercy each dawn is a powerful reminder. You are not your mistakes of yesterday. You are not your falls. You are not your losses. His mercies are new. That means fresh opportunity, renewed purpose, living hope. Do something radical tomorrow. Before seeking external validation, seek His presence. Kneel and say to Him, "Fill me with yourself." Spend a few minutes worshiping, asking for nothing, simply receiving. Allow His love to reaffirm who you are. From that place, the day is no longer faced with anxiety, but with stability. When God fills you first, everything else loses its power over you. And a heart filled with His love does not break easily. Now listen to this carefully. It's not enough to declare, seek direction, find refuge, and be satisfied if you continue speaking defeat throughout the rest of the day. There are people who pray powerfully in the morning and destroy everything by midday with their own words. They build an altar at dawn and raise a cemetery with their words by evening. Every phrase you repeat reinforces an identity. When you say, "The same thing always happens to me," you are sealing a cycle. When you say, "That's just how I am," you are closing the door to growth. When you affirm, "I'll never get out of this," you are prophesying stagnation. Your words don't just describe your reality, they shape it. The Bible is full of examples where a declaration changed destinies. It wasn't physical strength, it was verbal conviction backed by faith. Because when you speak in alignment with God's will, you activate something invisible that begins to work in your favor. That's why you need to guard your mouth throughout the day as you guard an important door. Not every thought deserves to become a word. Not every emotion needs to be proclaimed. Some battles are won by silencing the complaint and raising a declaration of faith. Try this practical exercise. Every time you detect a negative phrase coming out of your mouth, stop and replace it. If you say, "This is impossible," correct it with God, all things are possible. If you say, "I can't take it anymore," declare, "His strength is made perfect in my weakness." This isn't a denial of reality, it's a choice of authority. A day isn't ruined by a problem, it's ruined by a constant confession of defeat. But it can also be transformed by a firm insistence on the truth. Decide that your mouth will be an instrument of life, not of self-sabotage. Because the dawn begins the battle, but your words throughout the day determine the victory. There's something almost no one warns you about. Routine can extinguish your spiritual fire without you even realizing it. It's not scandalous sin that cools many people's faith. It's automatic repetition. You get up, you declare, you pray, but over time, it all becomes mechanical. The words keep flowing, but the heart no longer burns. And when the fire goes out, faith becomes theory. You fulfill spiritual practices, but you lose intensity. You read, but you don't listen. You pray, but you don't connect. You declare, but you don't deeply believe what you're saying. And that's dangerous territory because habit can masquerade as maturity. God isn't looking for empty repetitions, He's looking for a living relationship. He doesn't want memorized phrases without intention. He wants a present heart. Each morning isn't a spiritual formality, it's an encounter. And an encounter demands attention, vulnerability, genuine surrender. If you notice that your declarations no longer carry weight, change the way you approach him. Don't repeat for the sake of repeating. Stop and meditate on each word. When you say, "This is the day the Lord has made," truly imagine it as a gift designed just for you. When you declare that he is your refuge, recall a specific situation where he sustained you. Make it personal. Spiritual passion doesn't sustain itself, it's cultivated. Just as a human relationship cools if there's no intention, your communion with God needs constant depth. Ask yourself, am I seeking his presence or merely going through the motions? Rekindling the fire begins with honesty. Tell God if you feel cold. Tell him if you feel distant. Authenticity opens doors that formality never will, and when you return to him with genuine hunger, something awakens within you. Because mornings aren't meant to be empty rituals, but rather moments of real spiritual activation. There's a silent enemy that tries to steal everything you build in the morning. Constant doubt. Not the honest doubt that seeks understanding, but that repetitive voice that whispers, "What if nothing changes? What if you fail again? What if all this doesn't work out?" That voice doesn't shout, it insists, and if you don't confront it, it begins to erode your faith. After declaring, seeking direction, taking refuge, and being satisfied, the moment arrives when reality seems to contradict what you proclaimed. The problem is still there. The answer doesn't come immediately. The conflict doesn't disappear. And then the mind tries to bargain with fear. This is where spiritual maturity is defined. Faith isn't tested when everything flows smoothly. It's tested when you don't see immediate results. Because declaring at the peak is easy, but maintaining the declaration in the valley requires deep conviction. Remember this, God's silence isn't absence, it's process. Many times he is working in dimensions you can't perceive. He is aligning people, shifting circumstances, preparing opportunities. But if you allow doubt to rule your thinking, you abort trust before you see the fruit. When doubt arises, don't ignore it. Confront it with truth. If your mind says, "This isn't going to change," respond with, "God is still working." If fear whispers, "You're alone," declare, "He promised not to leave me." It's not about denying the difficulty. It's about not letting unbelief take control. Faith is a daily decision. It's not a constant emotion. There are days when believing feels heavy, but that's where your strength grows. Every time you choose to trust, even without seeing results, you strengthen your spirit. Because dawn begins the journey, but perseverance sustains it. And a heart that chooses to believe, even in the midst of silence, becomes unstoppable. There's another critical point that many don't recognize: the relationships that surround your day. You can wake up with faith, declare with authority, and seek direction. But if you allow negative voices to govern your environment, your spiritual energy is depleted. Not everyone around you fuels your purpose. There are draining conversations, comments disguised as advice that sow insecurity, people who project their fears onto your decisions. And if you aren't firm in what God spoke to you in the morning, you end up absorbing other people's doubts as if they were your own. That's why it's vital to remember what you received at dawn. If God gave you direction, don't let inexperienced opinions divert it. If you received peace, don't surrender that peace for criticism. Spiritual security isn't arrogance, it's conviction based on communion. It's not about isolating yourself from the world, but about filtering what you allow into your mind. Not every word deserves a place in your heart. Some phrases should bounce off, not linger. When someone tries to limit you, remember the promise you've already made. When they try to diminish your vision, return to what God has planted in your spirit. Also, learn to surround yourself with uplifting voices. People who propel you forward, who remind you who you are when you forget. Faith is also strengthened in the right community. A single aligned conversation can reignite what 5 negative ones tried to extinguish. Examine your circle. Evaluate what kind of influence predominates. Because your mornings build a foundation, but your daily relationships can reinforce or weaken it. Be intentional. Protect your mind. Take care of your environment. A solid day depends not only on what you declare upon waking, but also on what you allow to resonate around you throughout the day. Now we arrive at a point that defines whether all of the above becomes real transformation or simply momentary inspiration. Consistency. Because a powerful sunrise can ignite you, but only daily discipline sustains you when the emotion fades. Many begin with determination. They rise early, pray intensely, and declare with firmness. But as the days go by, fatigue sets in, distractions appear, and little by little they slip back into autopilot, not because they don't believe, but because they don't persevere. And a lack of consistency erodes any spiritual progress. Maturity isn't built in a single extraordinary day. It's formed over many ordinary days, faithfully repeated. True spiritual authority isn't born from an emotional moment. It's born from the intentional repetition of correct habits, day after day. Even when you don't feel anything special, there will be mornings when you wake up without motivation, when your mind will want to negotiate 5 more minutes of sleep, when prayer will feel dry. That's where your resolve is tested. Because when you choose to seek God even without emotion, you are demonstrating that your commitment doesn't depend on feelings. Spiritual discipline creates emotional stability. You no longer depend on the mood of the day. You don't depend on favorable circumstances. You have established a firm foundation, and that foundation allows you to stay the course even when the wind changes. Don't demand perfection of yourself. Demand consistency. If you stumble one day, don't give up. Return the next morning with renewed determination. Consistency doesn't mean never stumbling. It means always getting back up. Remember this: small, repeated actions produce great cumulative results. Every morning you choose to prioritize, God strengthens your character, your focus, and your identity. And over time, what began as effort becomes a way of life. After everything you've heard, there's an inevitable question. What kind of life do you truly want to build? Because your mornings don't just influence your mood, they shape your destiny. Every sunrise is a brick. Every statement is cement. Every conscious decision is structure. And without realizing it, you're building the kind of person you'll be in 5 years. It's not just about having peaceful days. It's about becoming someone stable, someone who doesn't crumble at the slightest bit of news, someone whose mood doesn't shift with the circumstances, someone whose identity is so firmly rooted in God that storms don't redefine their worth. When you prioritize God each morning, something profound happens. Your character begins to align with your purpose. Your reactions become wiser, your words more measured, your decisions more resolute. You start to notice that situations that once overwhelmed you no longer control you. Not because you're stronger on your own, but because you're more grounded. And here's the powerful part. This transformation doesn't just impact your life. It impacts those around you. Your family notices the difference. Your friends perceive stability. Your co-workers observe a different kind of calm. Without even realizing it, you become a role model, an example, living proof that a life aligned with God produces real results. But this requires a long-term vision. Don't just seek instant changes, seek depth. Let each morning be a spiritual training. Let each declaration strengthen you from within. Let each moment in God's presence solidify your identity, because the goal isn't just to have a good day, it's to become a person of strength, and a person of strength can weather any season without losing their essence. Now it all boils down to one simple yet powerful decision. Tomorrow will not be the same as yesterday. Not because the world will suddenly change, but because you will change how you begin. Dawn will cease to be automatic and become intentional. You will no longer open your eyes to survive the day, you will open them to conquer it. Imagine the cumulative effect of 30 aligned mornings. 30 days declaring life instead of complaining. 30 days seeking direction before acting. 30 days taking refuge in God before panicking. 30 days being nourished by His presence instead of empty distractions. That doesn't produce a superficial change, it produces a profound transformation. There will be resistance. Your mind will try to retreat to its comfort zone. The environment will try to drag you back into the usual frenetic pace. But now you know that the first minute defines the battle. And when you win that minute, you gain the upper hand over the rest of the day. Don't expect an extraordinary sign. Don't expect to feel anything spectacular. The transformation begins with a silent decision upon waking, with a phrase spoken with conviction, with a simple act of spiritual priority. Remember, your mornings shape your days shape your character shapes your destiny. Don't underestimate the power of a right start. Don't minimize the impact of a consistent declaration. Small things repeated become powerful. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, do so consciously. Declare life. Seek direction. Take refuge first. Allow God to fill you. And walk with the certainty that you are not improvising your existence, you are building it with intention. Change doesn't begin when everything improves outside. It begins when you decide to govern what happens within you from the very first second of the day. And that moment begins at dawn.